Hello, there I am. That was fun. So, if you are joining for the first time, hi, I'm Laken, and I go live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern to answer questions about goals, planning life, and also talk about a topic. And I tried an intro for the first time today. I'm calling it an intro, it's literally music with a picture. But I had a lot of feedback last week saying that when you're joining live, the ads will play and you are sometimes late to the live even if you're there right at noon. And so that's the benefit of having an intro. And if you're watching the replay, you can always just click. I'm going to always put the timestamp in the description. You can just skip right through it. There, that way you don't have to worry about sitting there through the intro. Although truthfully, when I watch Sarah Cannon's intros, I never notice it and I just let it go. Also, I just realized my lipstick's looking kind of funky. All right. I've been trying this new e.l.f. lip thing. Oh, see if I can balance it out a little bit. Okay. Anyway, let me know. Let me know your thoughts. For those of you who typically join live, let me know if that was helpful and that you didn't you were able to not miss anything is what I'm going for. Okay, y'all. I can't stop looking at my lips. Why do they look so funny? Oh, I'm feeling a little bit flustered today. We've had a lot going on behind the scenes over here in our lives and just feeling a little bit all over the place. Okay, let's talk. What is your win? Let me know down in the comments if you are here live. What is one small win that you have to share from the last week? If you're here live, please say hello in the chat and let me know what your win is. And if you're a part of the replay fam, please say hello down in the comments and let me know what it is. Yes, I was getting anxious waiting for the skip button. Yeah, that's what I've heard, Kate, is that you're afraid that you're missing stuff. And really, it's just like an intro and just me talking, and it's not that big of a deal. But I understand not wanting to worry about that. So that's why I did the little intro thing that way. Okay, ads had finished when you began speaking. Awesome. That makes me so happy. Okay, cool. I'm still very distracted by what my lips are doing, but if you have a longer intro, we will have time to watch the ads and not miss anything. So was it not long enough, Colleen? Then I base it on Sarah's. Sarah's was about 45 seconds. So I did it for about 45 seconds, but maybe it wasn't enough time. Okay. All right. Let's talk about wins. We'll figure out the intro. It's going to be a little bit of trial and error. If you can believe it, we have been doing these lives together for about 4.5 years. We started in March of 2020. They originally started over on Instagram. I moved them to YouTube. We have changed the time that we have done them so many times. Like the day and the day of the week and the time of the day has changed a ton. I feel good about our current time. Like we're sticking with this for the foreseeable future. But yeah, this is just a new aspect of the lives that we are trial and erroring together. All right, couple wins. Let me share mine while you continue adding them in. This is a win that has been really popping out to me on my goals, and that is focusing on something over nothing and the benefit of doing even a little bit of something even if you can't do it all. And I went on a little bit of a rant last night on the community call about counter cleaning and how this has shown through for me. But it happened again today. I went to the grocery store and I had this very long list because we're hosting something this weekend. I had a very long list of stuff to get at the grocery store. And there was one thing, and I was trying to get it all in to get home before Lila needed to go down for her nap. And there was one thing on the list that I just couldn't find. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I got 95% of the grocery list. I am going to have to come back and trying to avoid coming back. I get that. But at the same time, I did most of it. So when we come back, it will be a lot easier and I will just be able to focus on finding that one thing. All right, let's see what some other wins are. Worked on your piano into your afternoon routine. Worked piano into your afternoon routine. I love that. Are you working on anything fun or specific? I've been working through this Disney piano book. Got most of the packing done for your horse show this weekend. I love it, Jamie. Got your kids off to school for their first day. I can't believe so many of you. I know we talked about school timing last week a little bit, but there's so many first days. So many first days. Back to talking to your therapist and feeling happy. I love that. Not a small win, but I have read 47 books so far. That's amazing. Congrats. And you got your September goals all set up. I love it. All right. Well, speaking of books, then let's move into my reading updates. I have actually read a lot in the last week since we last talked, but also came to a realization related to reading. So the first thing is the audiobook that I'm listening to, which is Uncomfortable Conversations with a Jew by Emmanuel Acho and Noah Tishby. I am at 57%, which is a lot further than I was last week. I've been listening to this a lot. We go on walks, when I'm cleaning the house, whatever it is we're doing, like I typically have this. If I'm all caught up on my podcasts and YouTube videos, this is what I'm listening to in my ears. And I've made a lot of progress on that. I have also realized this is a season where I am not going to prioritize sitting down to read a physical nonfiction book. I have always said that if I'm reading like a business or personal development kind of nonfiction book, I want to sit down and read the hard copy so that I can highlight and really absorb it. And I'm sure I could find time for that. I could make time. I could prioritize it. Right now, that is not a priority for me. So I am going to pivot strictly to just doing audiobooks for nonfiction for the foreseeable future. Do I think I'm going to maybe not get as much out of listening to some of these personal development books as I would if I was reading the hard copy? Probably. But going back to my win, something is better than nothing. And so if that means that I am going to reread that again in the future, or again, I'm not getting 100% of what I would have gotten out of it, it's still better than 0%. So with that said, I have decided to put pause on the hard copy nonfiction book I was reading. I really enjoy it. Like I was enjoying it. I was about a quarter of the way through it. But I'm going to put it on pause until I can listen to the audiobook. So I put it on hold at the library, and I'm hoping it becomes available after I finish this one, but who knows? I'm hoping the timing just like lines up that when I'm about to finish this one, I have a bunch of nonfiction books on hold at the library. So hopefully something will come available, but I'm putting this book on pause for now. And then I have been chugging through my fiction book at night, which is the third book in A Court of Thorns and Roses, really getting into it, really enjoying it, even if I only read a little bit every night. So hang on one second. Let me block some of these spam. Okay. Couple more wins. Got back into my weekly Monday yoga class. I love it. Having your last dental surgery for a while. Crossing all of our fingers, sending you all the good vibes. Just your lesson book from years ago when I took lessons. I love it. Okay. So those are my reading goal updates. Let's talk about my actual goals. So here is my goal sheet, literally a photo I snapped an hour ago. And I'm going to talk about some specific updates for these. So number one, you might see if you haven't watched my actual goals video where I like deep dive into these, watching that would be helpful before watching these lives, because I'm not necessarily going to tell you what the step is and like the thought process behind it. I'm just going to update you on things. And one of those updates this week is for those 3 one-time steps that are lowering my averages. So one of my goals for the quarter is to reduce the amount of time that I'm spending on my phone. And so what I did is I calculated I took July and I calculated how much, if you have an iPhone, by the way, these numbers are in your phone. If you go to settings, you go to screen time, and these numbers are in your phone. So my big detriments are Instagram, playing games on my phone, and then also total screen time I wanted to lower on my phone. And so I wrote out all the numbers for July and calculated what the averages are. And then my goal in August is just to lower it, not a specific amount, not a specific percentage, like literally, I just want it to be lower. So what I decided to do, because this is kind of a one and done kind of thing. This isn't like, oh, I'm tracking my progress over the course of the month. It's kind of like I either do it or I don't. But what I decided to do was see where I'm at. Where am I at so far for the month? Because this live is basically halfway. It's August 14th. And I actually started tracking it the week that had August 1st. So it was actually Monday, July 20, whatever that Monday was. And so I have 16 days worth of data to compare to my July numbers. And so this morning I calculated it out and I gave myself a check mark in all of them because it is lower. For Instagram, I am 13 minutes lower so far this month than I was last month. For games on my phone, I am 7 minutes lower. And for total screen time, I am a whopping 15 minutes lower, which is funny because it's almost the sum total, but it's a little bit less, which means I've been spending apparently time on something else on my phone besides those two things. But the good news is they're all lower. And that was the goal, is that they are all a little bit lower. And we'll see how I get at the end of the month. And hopefully they stay lower. And then I will get that check mark at the end of the month. Everything else is kind of going as expected, some better than others. You can see that on all of my goals, basically. Nothing's perfect. I've missed things on most of them. But that's how progress works. So that is my update. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts on that before we jump into today's topic? Also, I've got some iced green tea in my cup. I talked about this last week, the week before, that I'm trying to drink less coffee. So green tea, iced green tea in my cup instead of coffee. Might be a while before you see coffee again on my on the lives, because at this point in my day, I'm just like, I'm done with coffee. All right, let's talk about accountability. This is probably the number one thing. Like when I recently went through the annual survey results, and so many people are like, I need accountability. I need accountability. I need help with the follow through. And the interesting thing is I'd already had this as the topic for August before I even looked at the survey results. Now, I do think accountability is important. And obviously that's why we're talking about it. But do I believe that if you pick goals that matter to you, you break them down and you schedule time for them, that you can achieve them without any additional accountability? Absolutely. If you have ever heard me talk before, this is the foundation. These 3 steps. Your goals matter. You've broken them down. You schedule time for them. That's what it is. That's the foundation to achieving your goals. Now, I know that is not easy. It's simple, but not necessarily easy. But I do think that if you do all these things, you can achieve whatever you want. Do I think that some days you can willpower your way through your goals? You can just your way, push through, do something and willpower your way through. Absolutely. Some days you can willpower your way through. However, will additional accountability make it more likely that you achieve your goals? Yeah, it will. And they did a study on it. They actually did a study on accountability to see what percentage of people achieve their goals given different levels of accountability. So interesting. So here are the results. Having an idea of a goal, like having an idea of something you want to do or a goal that you want to achieve, you're 10%. Let me fix that so that it's the correct word. You're 10% likely to achieve that goal just by thinking about it. You have a 10% chance of achieving that goal just by thinking about it, just by having the idea. Now, you have an idea and you consciously decide that you're going to do it. You make a conscious decision like this, I am going to do this. You are 25% likely to achieve that goal. It's pretty good. It's probably about where we are when we don't have any additional support, right? And if you're here listening to me talk, you have additional support. You are doing more than just thinking about your goals or deciding that you're going to do your goals. The next tier, which this part really, really interests me, that it was this direction, deciding when you will do it. That's what's next. To me, scheduling has always been the last step, but deciding when you will do it gives you a 40% chance of achieving that goal. After that is the how. Deciding how you're going to do it gives you a 50% chance to achieve that goal. Then it gets better. When you commit to somebody else that you are going to achieve that goal, you have a 65% chance. That is high, but also I want you to think about the jump from like you deciding that you're going to do it to committing to somebody else. We're not meant to do this by ourselves, right? So please don't feel bad when you struggle to do it on your own because we're not meant to do this by ourselves. Now, you might be thinking 65% is still pretty low. How do I get that number higher? Well, they found out that having a specific accountability appointment with someone that you've committed to, a specific appointment, you are 95% likely that you will achieve that goal. 95%. That's huge, y'all. Like that number is huge. 95%. There's only a 5% chance you won't do it if you have a specific accountability. I just thought that was so mind-blowing to me. So this week, we're not getting specific. I know if you're here, you're like, wait, I want you to talk about it. I hear you. And I want to start before we get into the specifics with just the mindset. The mindset that you can't do this all on your own, and that's okay. You're not meant to just willpower your way and be like, don't feel bad. I hear a lot. I hear this a lot from community members, Instagram DMs, all kinds of things. That's like, I should be able to just do it. Like I should be able to just do this XYZ. I should be able to just whatever it is. And what this data showed me and reminded me, I always knew this, but like really solidified it, is no, you're not. We need each other. We need support. We need accountability. We need an additional layer of something other than just deciding ourselves, deciding when and how we're going to do it. That's only 50% of the battle. That's only 50%. 50%, you might still not achieve that goal just by which that I'm like, wow. I'm almost at a loss for words because I was so shocked by the numbers. Because I have always been somebody who focused on this willpower, just push through, just power through. And that works sometimes, but it doesn't work all the time. And I always was like, okay, well, why doesn't it work? And how can I fix that? And how can I help others fix that? And how can we make sure that we are actually achieving our goals? Well, apparently it's this, a specific accountability appointment. Now, I know that that's not always feasible all the time. And so next week, we are going to talk about some specific ways to create accountability. So make sure that you're subscribed. But what I want your help with is I want to be able to give examples based on your individual goals. And I don't know where the pop-up went. Okay, hold on. I'm going to type it really fast. Okay. I don't think that grammar is correct. I think on is not the word I want there. But for quickness sake, I want you to comment. If you're here live, share in the chat. If you are watching the replay, comment below. What is the number one goal you feel like you need accountability on? What is the goal that you know that just these first couple steps, when, how, blah, 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 that's not enough for you? You need that extra that extra level of accountability, because what I want next week, we did the same thing with routines, right? We did like a basic intro mindset routines 101. And then I used exact examples from your comments. I want to do the same thing here. I want to create examples based on your goals, because the truth is, we are probably not going to be able to have a specific accountability appointment for every goal in our lives. We're just not. That is typically a cost. There's a cost to that. There's a time element to that. There's just, it's complicated. There's a complication level to that. So I want you to let me know, what is the number one goal that you feel like you need accountability for? That you feel like you just need, maybe I don't even need a word there. You feel like you need extra accountability. What is that goal that you are like, I always struggle to follow through? on that goal. Let me know what it is. And then again, next week, we're going to get specific and I'm going to talk about specific actions that you can take and how we're going to develop this accountability for you and your specific goals. All right. That's it. That's all I got this week for you. Next week is probably going to be a lot longer of me talking at the beginning, as opposed to this. Couple extra last minute wins here. Maggie, my win is being able to write 95,000 weekly steps. Holy guacamole. That's a lot of steps. That is a lot of steps. That's amazing. Happy to be here live, albeit late. Do not worry. My win was getting some of your canning done for the fall. I love that. I love it. All right, couple comments already of Danielle. Thank you for being my guinea pig. If your YouTube handle is not your name that you prefer to go by, I love when you include your name in the comments. Doing workshops in your Good Inside app. Do you like the app? I just saw that she announced that app. I subscribe to her podcast and follow her on Instagram. Is the app is it worth it? Accountability with writing your first book. If you're not subscribed to Sarah Cannon over at Heart Breathings, highly recommend. Super interesting, Dahlia. Having a scheduled appointment for checking in with your goals is the reason that you've lost 13 pounds. So interesting. Implementing a routine for stretching, exercising outside of your weekly workout with the trainer. Got it. Awesome. Keep them coming. If you have more that you want to share, I would love to hear it. Either in the comments or in the live chat or in the comments. And next week, we're going to get specific. Okay. We have a lot of time left and the time is yours. This is open Q&A. Feel free to ask anything. It doesn't have to be about this topic. It can be about whatever you want to chat about. It can be about your individual goals or struggles, something you have been struggling with or you want to chat through. It does not have to be like a general topic idea. It can be, if you don't know how to phrase it into a question, you could just put topic and then whatever your topic is. Anything that's on your mind, whatever questions you want to ask. All right. What is on your mind? What do you need? What do you need? Do you need a pep talk? Do we need to break something down? How are you feeling about August, mid-August? If anybody, there's so much Halloween stuff already in stores, y'all. Like so much. And I love Halloween. It is easily one of my favorite holidays, but not yet. Can we at least wait till September? That's my thought. Do you have openings for your goal group? Stacy, if you're asking about the Goals with Laken community, it is always open. There's no open and close. So you are always welcome to join. It's on a recurring basis. So if you signed up today, then you would be charged on the 14th of every month until you cancel. You can join anytime, cancel at any time. The calendar for the next month is always up. September is not up yet, but the August calendar is available and you can see that. If you have any other questions specifically, or if you want to chat about whether you think it's a good fit for you, you're always welcome to send me a DM on Instagram or an email, and I am happy to chat with you. How are we at mid-August already? Summer just started. I feel the same way. Summer just started. I am so ready for fall. I'm so over the heat. Yeah. Temperature wise, I'm with you. We've had some really beautiful days the last week or so. And it's been really nice, but I'm not ready to give up summer vibes. When and why did you choose to only do one video a week instead of Mondays and Fridays? The when, I don't honestly remember when. My YouTube channel my YouTube schedule has evolved a lot over the years. I've been on YouTube for 6 years now, and it went from a hodgepodge, no plan, to Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. I'm pretty sure there was a peak there that I was doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. That is without one of them being the live. That was a lot. It's just completely evolved. And it really, there's a lot of reasons why. Some of them that I'm not necessarily going to get into, but the biggest reason for this particular season of life is I knew that we were going to start trying to grow our family and that there were going to be things that needed to get cut, things that I needed to take off my plate as I added growing and then taking care of a tiny human onto my plate. And that one video per week was that thing that got taken off. Well, one of the things. There were lots of things that got taken off, but there's just only so many hours in the day. And ultimately, I have a lot of freaking content, y'all. Like there's a lot of videos on my channel. I think I'm almost at like 1,000. And like there's just so much content to watch that I just feel like you don't need that many new videos from me every week. So Saturday is the last time the sun will set on the East Coast after 8 p.m. Holy moly. I think we already had ours actually here in Chicago, but we are on the very, very edge of a time zone, like of Central Time. We're on the very eastern edge of Central Time. So we, like, the sun sets earlier. Yes. Compared to the rest of our time zone. Does that make sense? Yes. It was the same way when I lived in New York City too. I love doing accountability groups online. I'm doing 6 months for life with Sarah via Discord. It helps you stay accountable by sharing your progress and seeing others. Absolutely. I love how much we all love Sarah Cannon. She's the best, y'all. She's the best. Any other questions? What else are you thinking about? What is on your mind? What do you need help with? Let's chat. I appreciate all the comments last week on this angle and like sticking with this angle. I think I'm going to. It's not the best lighting, but I love the background. I'm filming a day in the life today, and I'm going to do an office tour as part of this vlog because I've changed some stuff about my office since the last time I did it. And so, yeah, I'm excited to show you that. Sorry, that was very random. Sunset here is still at 8:41. I'm glad we live in Eastern time zone because I can't do the early sunsets. There's pros and cons all across the board, right? Like I will say being in Central time, it really also matters. Some of it's the time zone you're in, and then some of it is where you live within the time zone. The like having things at Central time makes a huge difference for me. Like House of the Dragon being at 8 instead of 9, just like all kinds of like live things, like football season. A game starting at 7:30 versus 8:30 makes a huge difference. So I didn't think an hour would be that important until it was. And it's so nice. And then sometimes I'm like, do I think I would like Pacific time? I'm such a morning person and I want to go to bed early. But then I think about like college football starts at 11 or noon. No, 11. It was at noon Eastern, and it starts at 11 Central, like 9 a.m. Pacific. That's pretty early. Oh, anybody else can't wait for football? I mean, I know preseason has started. That doesn't count. I'm excited for actual football so soon. Like the first actual college football game is August 31st. And so when I was like doing the August monthly calendar, I was like, there's a football game. And I'm so excited. And my family is going to be in town for it because Lila's birthday is the next day. So we're all going to get to watch the football game. And it's going to be so nice. All right. Everyone's being quiet today. What's on your mind? Any questions? Everyone's just hovering, hoping that somebody else asks questions. In Pacific time, we have tape delay. So sometimes things start at 8 p.m. PST, even though it also aired at 8 p.m. EST. Oh, that's like even worse. Oh my gosh. No, thank you. They also still advertise it as live, which that would make me angry too, Jamie. What did you do when your session changed? I'm not totally sure what you mean by my session. If you wouldn't mind elaborating a little bit, I would appreciate it. We have so many life changes coming up. It's overwhelming. My son's starting school for the first time, and then a month we move into our house trying to figure out what to prioritize. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of different things. I'm scrolling back up because my brain cannot remember. I know that you said you included your Danielle. First off, remind yourself that you can't do it all and that this is just a temporary situation, right? You and your family figuring out your son being in school for the first time and moving into a house are two massive changes that theoretically are only going to necessarily happen. It's only going to be the first time for school and the first time in this house one time. And so it is okay if you have to let other things go, right? Just like I was mentioning earlier, that there are times that you just have to take things off your plate. There was a season in my life where I could upload 4 YouTube videos a week. That is not my season anymore. So this season for you, what do you need to take off your plate? Whether it's actual time that you're committing, whether it is energy that you're committing, or mental or physical energy that you're committing, what can you let go of temporarily while you go through all of this? I did a video maybe about a year ago on goals during big life changes. And that video is primarily focused on life changes that you know are coming up, like these, moving, etc. Obviously, there are unfortunate life changes that are typically unexpected. Some of them are positive. Maybe you're getting a new job, or you found out that you were expecting. And then some of them are not that pop up that are not positive: death in the family, job loss, etc. But one of the similarities across all of those scenarios is that you are not living in your regular rhythms in that time. And so it is okay to let go of other things that you typically do during that regular rhythm, whatever that looks like. Maybe it means you're ordering out more than normal. Maybe it means that you are just cooking really simple meals at home when typically you like to spend more time in the kitchen. Maybe it means that you typically read 30 minutes at night every single night, and maybe now your head's hitting the pillow and you're exhausted and you're just not reading right now, and that's okay. Don't feel bad about needing to let things go. And it is likely worth it to sit down for a second and be like, okay, what can I take off my plate? Knowing that you can't do everything. Then, this is a page from the Lazy Genius book, method, whatever you want to call it. Ask yourself what matters the most. What matters the most right now? And that is what you prioritize. Nothing else. If it does not support that what matters to you, then it doesn't get to be on your priority list. And just keep reminding yourself, this is temporary. You're going to get back into a rhythm at some point. And some of them are temporary. Like moving is a temporary thing that then you will be in a new space and you will figure it out, etc. Starting school, that's like a whole big life change. That's a whole big life change. And you're going to find your new rhythm, and it might take some time, but that's okay. Think back to all the other times that you found a new rhythm, right? When your son was born, when your son started some sort of childcare, if that happened, when your son started walking, talking, eating solid food, like all of those other transitions, you made it through those. And it might feel extra overwhelming right now because they're piled on top of each other. There is math there that is like a value 1 life change and a value 1 life change doesn't equal 2, it equals like 17 because you're piling them on top of each other. So try to be gentle with yourself. Sit down, what can you let go of, and ask yourself what matters. That was a lot. Sorry, I said a lot there, but hopefully that helped. Sending you and your family big hugs. They also still advertise it as live. Oh, I already clicked on that one. Oh my gosh. A lot of time live means live to tape with no editing. Interesting. What planners would you recommend for college students? Great question. However, I have always, always, always struggled with recommending specific things, specific planners, because at the end of the day, even if you have things in common with other college students, you're still you and your preferences are still important to you. And there's so much variety out there that what is important to you might not be important to somebody else. For example, I am a paper snob. I like my paper to be very thick. I write with a heavy hand. I like to write with thicker pens. And so the paper quality to me is very, very important. That might not be important to you. That changes the options that you have. You might be a college student who is involved in a lot of activities. You're a leader in this organization. You have this side thing. You also are working. Like if you have a lot going on, you might need a daily planner. Where there might be another college student who is focused strictly on school and doesn't have any other outside activities. And so a weekly is enough for them. They're just using their planner to write down their assignments, right? There's so many variables that it can be really hard for me to recommend specifically. The one thing I would definitely suggest is a academic year planner. I'm sure that probably is an obvious to most people, but it can be tough. I feel like when you're in school to try and like force yourself into a calendar year because you just want that new planner in January. But like what really makes sense for you is an academic year. And then I always, when someone asks a question about planner recommendations, I point them back to a video that was made by Cindy. So I've mentioned Cindy before. I love her channel. She's not currently uploading new things. She's going through a lot right now. But there is a video that I'm going to link for you that she made years ago, I think at this point, about picking a planner. And she walks you through all of those categories: daily, weekly, monthly. Do you want, is paper quality, coil, bound, et cetera, like all those different things to think about when you're picking a planner. And going through that video with your current season, thinking about what you need right now is really, really helpful. So that would be my recommendation. Sorry, that doesn't exactly answer your question, but I would recommend watching that video by her. What do you find most important to do when the seasons change and it affects your routine? Great question. So we talked in July all about routines. The entire month of July was about routines from start to finish, all of the steps that goes along with that. And one of those components is changing. Now, I don't know if you mean seasons like the calendar year seasons, if you mean seasons like the weather seasons, or you mean your own personal seasons. Like if you're changing into a different season of life. I know we had a whole conversation, one live, about like using the phrase seasons or using, a million different words here. It doesn't really matter what you call it. To me, what it means is something has significantly changed that is impacting your day-to-day rhythms, right? That could be a change in the date. Your kids are going back to school. It could be a change in the weather. Now it's too cold to walk to work and I have to take public transit, right? It could be a change in your actual life. You went from working in the office to working from home, or you went from living alone to living with a significant other, right? Those are all shifts in seasons and can affect your routines. My big, most important is don't expect yourself to immediately figure out your new routine. Most of the time, we cannot just logic our way into a new routine. Trust me, I've tried. I love a good logic problem. I was a math major. I love trying to logic my way through things. And so I have been known to try to think like, okay, if this is the new situation, then it makes sense for my routine, and like try to, again, logic my way to the new routine. Truthfully, the best way to figure it out is to try it and to try something different and to see if it works. And then if it does, great. And if it doesn't, okay, what do I need to tweak about it? And just going through that process until you figure out what works, and know that that might take time. Even going back to what Danielle asked about her son starting school and then moving, it's likely going to take time for them to figure out their new routine as that changed. So just being kind to yourself and giving yourself that time and space to figure it out, as opposed to just dropping it and just saying, well, the routine that I had set up, that doesn't work for anymore. So I'm just not going to do a routine anymore. Because my guess is that routine supported you in some capacity before, and you don't want to necessarily let go of it completely. So figure out how you can tweak it and adjust it for your new season and give yourself time to get used to it. And then life will change again, because that's what happens. Constantly in a state of change, y'all. Amanda's favorites on YouTube does a lot of good planner reviews. Yes, great recommendation, Michelle. If you're looking, Ava, for specific like planner reviews, it's a great channel to go to. All right, I'm all caught up on comments, questions, anything else that you're thinking about or that you are personally struggling with? Going once. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? I just heard Lila make a noise after I said that. She clearly has some questions, comments, concerns. As do I. I cannot believe we are 2.5 weeks from her birthday. I'm going to have a 1-year-old. I probably will still measure her life in months, because I feel like you do that. When does that stop? Like 2 years? Have you made any significant changes to the 2025 planner? Great question. So I have a whole list. There's like 10 or so changes that I am making. I don't know if I would call any of them significant to me. Like, I don't think they're super significant. But I think they are all necessary and helpful. So I will share all of that when I do it. Like when I have the 2025 version all done, just like last year, I'm going to print it out and I'm going to do a flip through video and upload that for you. And I will talk about all the changes that I made to the 2025 version. But I think they're all going to be great. I think it's all going to be very, very helpful. I stopped using months at a year, 1.5 to 2 years. Yeah, I feel that at a year, Brittany, but also I feel like a 13-month-old and a 22-month-old are two very different babies, and they're both a year old, right? So I don't know. Remind me again how you time track, task blocks or minutes? Great question. I time track by task blocks. So which is almost, it's kind of the same thing as minutes, but I don't do exact, to the minute. I got this idea from HB90, the HB90 system created by Sarah Cannon. And you can buy just her planner. I would always recommend that you sign up for the course with the planner. And the course is always available at the beginning of the month, right before a new quarter. So, like at the beginning of September. And the way that she recommends it is that when you project plan, you estimate how many task blocks they're going to take, which is really just a summary of how many minutes. And so she recommends doing it in Pomodoros. So it's 25 minutes of work and 5-minute break. I just do 30-minute chunks. Like, I don't worry about the breaks. The breaks get fit in anyways, because I hardly ever work these like long chunks of time anyways. So I just kind of let go of the 25-5. I just still time track in 30-minute chunks. So if I have a project, I estimate that it's going to take 4 task blocks, which is the equivalent of 2 hours. And then I use an app called, let me tell you what's called, A Tracker, like the letter A and then tracker. It's just okay. I don't use it necessarily to like look at the reports and all those things. I use it just so I can turn on when I am doing something. So like you can see, I have Lattes with Laken toggled on right now. Don't look at the fact that my phone is going to die. And so that just allows me to see at the end of the day how many minutes I spent on a task, and then I just average it to the closest task block. I gave up a long time ago trying to make it super, super specific, because if I tracked down to the minute, it would like, I would be so focused on getting so detailed that I would spend more time planning and tracking and looking at the numbers than I would actually doing things. So, for example, like so far today, I've spent an hour and 5 minutes on the live, because that I probably spent 15 minutes before. And then we've been live for about 46 minutes. And then whatever time I spend on it um afterwards, doing like the after stuff, the linking the videos, etc., it usually ends up being about an hour and a half, and it's about 3 task blocks. And I know that because I do this every single week, so I know exactly how many task blocks the live takes me to prep and do, execute, and follow up. Other projects I don't necessarily know, and so some of them I time track for knowledge and information, but truthfully for me, time tracking is accountability. Goes very well with this topic. But to me, writing down that I spent this many task blocks yesterday on this in particular task helps me like stay accountable to actually doing it. And then I also get credit. Like it gives me, I get to write down that I spent that many task blocks. The last thing I will say on this, I do actually also track in half task blocks now, because sometimes I only have 15 minutes to spend on a project. That is just my life now. Or if I have 45 minutes, then I say I did 1.5 task blocks. So it is kind of minutes, but I round because I cannot get that granular. Okay, I lied. The last thing I will say on this is I did set a goal this quarter to work a set number of task blocks, and it is working for me. It's absolutely working for me. I'm not necessarily hitting the numbers that I said I was going to hit, but I am being held so much more accountable to working on the stuff that isn't the recurring tasks. The live's going to get done. The community call is going to get done. Those things are going to happen. But the other stuff was not happening, and now it is. And it's been really awesome. There's a big developmental age gap, but unless I was talking to somebody, I just say a year older, almost 2. That makes sense. The doctors also go by months. That's true. Are you going to redo the How I Plan My Life video? Yes, that is on the docket. I talked about this somewhere. I wanted to film that video in real time. And so it has to be filmed at the end of a quarter, because that's when I like update my quarterly goals, which is the first domino in the How I Plan My Life. And so, but the end of June, I was busy prepping for a 2-week trip. So it was not going to happen then. So it is scheduled to be filmed at the end of September, the last week of September. And then I don't remember when it's going up, sometime after that. How often do you post day in the life vlogs? It really depends on how many Mondays there are in a month and if I'm out of town. So it's at least 1 per month. Sometimes it's 2, depending on how the month shakes out. In September, there's 5 Mondays, and I'm going to be out of town in September on a Wednesday, so there won't be a live that week. And so there will be 2 in September. So it kind of depends, but at least 1 per month. And I'm filming one today. The first one in September is what I'm filming today. I'm always, if there's any specific things that you want to see in a day in the life vlog that I don't typically include, I feel like I try to do a good job of like pulling in different aspects, whether it's meals or getting ready or scheduling or whatever it is. I feel like I try to pull in a variety of things, but if there's ever like a specific thing, let me know within reason, not anything, but you know what I mean. Or you know that I will make my own call on whether I'm comfortable sharing that or not. One of the hardest things to navigate on the interwebs. All right. Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? All right, let me ask you my final question then. What is the one thing that you're going to do this week to make progress on your goals? What is the one step that you're going to take to make progress on your goals? It does not have to be huge. Y'all know that small progress is still progress. Mine is actually not a goal, but it's going to help me with my goals, and that is to take some actual rest time. This weekend is the last weekend that we don't have anything going on for a very long time, like until like November. So I'm gonna take some rest time. I'm gonna take some time to chill and just like sit on the couch and do nothing for the sake of sitting on the couch and doing nothing. It's okay to take some rest time. But let me know if you're here live still. Let me know in the chat what's the one step that you're going to take to make progress on your goals. And if you're a part of the replay fam and you're still here, thank you for watching all the way to this point. Let me know in the comments what's the step that you're going to take. Organize your savings challenges, saving challenge binders to save for your birthday trip in January. Where are you going, Colleen, if you want to share with us? Sign up for community chorus. That is so fun. Make a plan for the remaining house projects. Schedule some time to make progress on your goal refresh. Get publicity out for next week's talk. That's cool. Prioritize your AM and PM routines. Maybe focus on one to start. Oh, Savannah. Oh, that's so fun. I get to choose my baby shower theme. We will get to find out the gender and then have to prep your son to start middle school. So exciting. So exciting. Oh my goodness, y'all. I love hearing about all of your goals and all of your progress. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for asking questions and making this hour always one of my favorites every week. If you wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up before you head out, I would greatly appreciate that. And if you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every week focused on helping you achieve your goals. See you next week.